Still offline?
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. This is my first attempt at broadcasting bridge. I hope you will enjoy it, and I hope you'll benefit, and I hope some of my people who have been notified of the bridge supervision tonight will benefit. If I go through things too quickly, you can always replay it later, because I will leave the video the streaming up online, and you can just download it and play it to your heart's content very slowly. Now, the first thing that you need is a pack of cards, and please take out one suit completely. If you take out all the spades and put them in front of you by your computer, then you can try some of the things I'd like you to do as an exercise so that you can follow what I'm talking about. So let's start with the first finesse, a basic finesse. Some of the stuff I will do will be directed at novices, and some of the stuff will be directed at people who have been playing for some time. So let me first do a basic finesse. You'll have to bear with me while I bring it in. That's covering my face. Now it's no longer covering my face. Now I hope you can see the basic finesse. Let me make it larger for you so you can all see it clearly. We'll just make me a bit smaller. And let's watch the basic finesse. So if you could put the ace queen in one hand and the 8-5 in the other. Let me start this again because it's already too long. I will start it again. You'll have to bear with me. This is the first time I've ever done this. Let's try again from the beginning. Have the spades ready and lay the cards out as follows when you see them in the... Okay. Right, so when you've got ace king opposite 5-4 or ace king 4, any permutation of an ace king, you are always guaranteed 2 tricks. However, what do you do when you've got ace queen opposite 2 small cards? Start with the ace and everybody follows, then play the queen and lose to the king. Net gain, nothing. Start with the queen. Queen, low, low, king. Then you will win your ace in a minute. Still no gain. So starting with the ace was fruitless. Starting with the king was fruitless. So let's start from the other hand. The 5 is played. Be prepared to try the queen. And what happens when you try the queen? Gosh, you won. It was a 50-50 shot. 50% of the time, the king will be with east, and the rest of the time, the king will be with west. So lay the cards out like that for a basic finesse position, and then you will see. Let's give you something else. Now, before we can do the intervening bid of double, the informative double, you have to know why you want to join in. Maybe you've got a good hand. Maybe you want to push the opponents up. Maybe you want to indicate lead to partner. And sometimes you might even want to make a sacrifice bid. Now, there's a simple overcall 8-9 plus points. Some people play strong jump 15-16 and a 6-card suit. So on this hand here, you would overcall one spade. On the second one, you would overcall one spade as well. On the third one, you'd overcall two clubs. And finally, on the fourth one, you'd also overcall two clubs. These are all examples of simple overcalls when you bid. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry, it's coming in too quickly. I will have to do this more slowly next time. Wait, these are just examples what you should know until we get on to the informative double in a minute. Some people play that left hand where you overcall two spades with a weak hand and overcall three clubs. That would be a weak jump overcall. 6 to 10 points and a 6-card suit. Now the bidding goes one diamond and you've got this hand, you would overcall one no trump. 16 to 18 and a balanced hand. The bidding goes one diamond. You've got 13 points. 4-card, poor quality suit. Only 4. You just have to pass. Now, let's look at what you do with these hands. The first hand, you've got no 5-card suit, but 14 points. Second hand, you're interested in 2 suits, both the majors, and you have tolerance for clubs. On the third hand, you're interested in 3 suits. Now, with these hands, you can't really do anything with the normal overcall of simple overcall. So what you do is you say double. The double says, I too have 13 points. I like the unbid suits. And as a consequence, I am short in the opponent's suit. So you'd also say double on these 2 hands. Let's explain why. On the first one, you've got too many points for one no trump. You've got 19. And on the second one, you've got too many points for a mere jump overcall. So what you do on the first one, you double and bid no trumps next. And partner should... After the double, you have to realise there are only 14 points left. What do you do? Right, the first one, you reply 1 heart. That shows any hand with 0 to 7 points, not particularly enthusiastic. Just bid your best suit. 1 spade, 1 heart, or 2 clubs would all be weak bids, 0 to 7. What about this one? You now have to wake up and bid 2 hearts. Partner won't think you've got a powerhouse. Remember, there are only 14 points left between south and west. So with 8 points, jump in your suit to wake partner up a little bit. It's semi-encouraging. What about now? My God, we've got 12 points. 12 of the remaining 14 points. A very good hand indeed. We have to really show partner we're strong. We make a game-forcing bid and bid the opponent's suit. Don't play this unless you have fully discussed it with partner. What about now? You just say no bid. That says you've got a stack of opener suit and you want to watch them fail miserably. You haven't taken it out, you've reacted, and you want to see them draw blood. That's a picture of blood there, and that's the watchtower. That you have done a conversion job. What about now? Got 1 diamond, you now bid 1 no trump, showing 6 to 9 points balance, which is what you've got, and values in opener suit, because they won't have values. That last picture, which is now gone, was kids scratching their heads. For years, I did supervised play at the bridge club, and people would come into the bridge club, they come into me supervised now, and they haven't got a clue what to bid in the overcall seat. And they go through all the options, And then they say, I've thought of everything. And I say, no, you haven't thought of everything. And they say, yes, they have. And then they start scratching their head. And once they start scratching their head, they remember the double. The double is the catch-all bid that says, I can't overcall because I can't do a simple overcall. I can't do a strong jump overcall. I can't do a weak jump overcall. I can't do one no trump. I'm stuck for any other available bid. So there are 3 types of double. The double is either 13 plus points and liking of the other 3 suits, 19 or more points and balanced, then you would bid double followed by no trumps, and about 18 points and a very good 6-card suit of your own. Too strong for a mere jump overcall. Too strong for a mere overcall. So next time you are stuck for a bid, think double. I apologise that the PowerPoint came through too quickly. I will make sure it's much slower next time when I do another one of these broadcasts. Let me give you something else to think about. We're now going to look at the situation of covering an honour with an honour. The Queen of Spades is led. And you've got King, Jack, 10. You should put the King on straight away to promote your Jack and 10. But what about when you see the ace in the dummy and you're in the second seat? You should again put the King on the Queen so that ultimately you can promote partners Jack and 10. You cover an honour with an honour if you can promote something for yourself or your partner. People, when they first play bridge, they make bad mistakes in finessing, and they lead a queen when it's not backed up by a jack. That's completely the wrong thing to do. You mustn't lead an unsupported queen intending to finesse. If the opponent does lead a queen and it's unsupported, you must punish them. Put your queen on the king, force out dummy's ace, and maybe promote your jack or your 10, or promote partners jack or 10. If Declarer started life with Queen Jack 10, Declarer was going to do a successful finesse against you anyway. The thing is, do not be intimidated by the ace in the dummy. Still, put your king on their queen to promote partners possible jack or 10. Aces cover kings, kings cover queens and jacks, and queens cover jacks and 10s. Make sure you cover an honour with an honour if you can promote something for yourself or something for your partner. Next time when we meet, and I hope some of you will come back to me next time, you will then learn when you shouldn't cover. But basically, you cover more often than not to punish the bad finesser, people who finesse incorrectly. To open the bidding with minimum hands, you should apply the rule of 20, which works as follows. You take your total number of honour points plus your 2 longest suits, and if the total becomes 20 or more, then you should open the bidding. Let's look at these hands. The first hand, you've got ace, king, queen, 9 points, plus 5, plus 3, 17. No way should you open the bidding. The second one, you've got 2 5-card suits and 10 points. You should open straight away. 2 5-card suits. Likewise here, you've got a 6-card suit and a 4-card suit, and all your values in the 2 suits, open the bidding. Now the last one was 19 points. 19 was the total. It was 11 honour points and a 4-card suit and a 3-card suit. So it came to 18. You should not open. You can open one no trump with 12 to 14 points, but do not take a chance on balanced 11 counts. Just pass, because it doesn't meet the rule of 20. Now, when people first learn to play bridge, I teach that you have to have 13 points. Other people teach you have to have 12 points. Some people teach you have to have 11. The best way to go forward is to say 13 points that can be made up of length points and honour points, and if it comes to 13, you should open.
Slower.
I've just been informed by my wife that I should be talking more slowly, and the phone has rung as well, just to prove to you that it's a live broadcast. So, going back, so 13 points, it can be 11 honour points and a 6-card suit, or 12 honour points and a 5-card suit. But if it's 12 honour points and a 5-card suit, and it's 5, 3, 3, 2, you should have been opening one no trump in the first place. So, the 13 can be made up of 11 plus 2 or 12 plus 1, but better still, use the rule of 20, because the rule of 20 separates the men from the boys, and it encourages you to open with hands that don't quite meet 13. If, however, you've got the hand meets the rule of 20, and you've got 11 honour points and 5 hearts and 4 spades, and you think, if I open this hand, I'm not going to have a satisfactory rebid, I'm not going to be happy about my rebid, then ignore the rule of 20. All these guidelines are there to help you. You shouldn't be completely dependent on them. Some 13-point hands should be opened, some 13-point hands shouldn't be opened. I'm very keen to tell my students that if you've got a queen and a jack doubleton by itself, that should be downgraded. If you've got 13 points and part of your 13 points is the queen jack, don't count the queen jack. If, on the other hand, you've got a 6-card suit with ace queen jack, still 3 points, but the ace queen jack is better than a queen jack on its own. You've got to have some judgment. A king by itself is no good to anybody. If you pass initially and partner happens to bid the suit in which you've got the singleton king, your hand will go up in value. Hands are like stocks and shares. Hands go up in value and hands go down in value. Let me explain. Your partner opens with 1 heart and you have a fit in hearts. Your hand goes up in value because you've got an immediate fit, an immediate matchup. Partner opens 1 heart and you've got a singleton heart or a voiding heart. Your hand goes down in value because you've got the start of a misfitting hand. So be aware that certain 13-point hands are tremendous and certain 13-point hands are no good to partner. Okay, let me give you something else. how many points do you need in the fourth suit? Do you need a good hand to open in the fourth suit? Do you need a rebid? Well, you certainly don't need a rebid in the third and fourth seats. Look at these hands. They'll make it a bit larger for you. The first hand, you've got 10 points and 5 spades. On the second hand, you've got 10 points and 5 clubs. On the third hand, you've got 12 points, 5 clubs and 4 diamonds. And on the last hand, you've got 12 points as well. That says no open door policy. We don't want to open the doors to the opponents. So in order to not open the door to the opponents, you count your high card points and the number of spades you've got. And if the total is 15 or more, you should open the bidding. So let's go through the first one. The first one was 10 points and the 5 card spade suit, making 15. You can open. The second one, 10 points and only 2 spades. If you open a club in fourth seat, you are likely to get the opponents joining in. And that's the last thing you want. Just throw the hand in. Likewise on the third hand. Last hand, you've got 12 points and 4 spades. Go for it. You can control the auction. You don't want to open the auction when it's gone no bid, no bid, no bid, and then find the opponent stealing the auction from you. If you have control of the boss suit, or at least 4 spades, 3 spades with minimum hands, you can outbid the opponents without going up a level. But if they have the boss suit, they will just outbid you without going up a level. What?
On today's hand, you overcall 1 heart, and of course, after the bidding is finished, your partner leaves the 6 of hearts. At trick 1, you take stock. Declarer has played the king of hearts, and Declarer is trying to entice you to play another heart.
Okay. I will now talk to you a bit more about the reason you want the cards. So, if you take the spade suit out now, please, and in one hand put ace, king, 10, 4, 2, and in the other hand jack, 9, 5, 3, and we're going to practice the finesse position without any display on the screen apart from my face, which you'll have to put up with. So, what do we have to do now? We have to finesse the opponent's queen. Now, could you put the queen on the left with 3 small cards on your left in front of the ace, king, 10? Now, you could start with a low card, then the next person plays low, and you could finesse the 10. Try that, and the last person follows suit with a low card. And the finesse has worked. What's the problem? The problem is you need to finesse again, but now you're in the wrong hand. So let's replay the hand. And in the dummy, we've got ace, king, 10 and a small card. And in our own hand, we've got jack, 9 and 2 small cards. In order to finesse the opponent's queen, you have to start from the jack 9 side as long as possible. Now, the aim of this exercise is not only to finesse, but to keep yourself in the jack 9 side for as long as possible. So which card should we actually start with? And the answer is there's a choice of 2. So which card should we start with? We could start with the jack, and if the next person plays low, and then low from the other hand, and low from the person who's got 1, the jack will win the trick. And then we could play the 9. Next person plays low, and then we can play the 10 from the dummy, and we've finessed left-hand opponent twice. And we haven't had to waste valuable entries in the other suits because we stayed in the jack 9 side twice. We have to, when we're doing these finesses, be aware how important our intermediate cards are. On this occasion, we had jack, 10, 9 between the 2 hands. Now, moving back to an earlier point I was talking about, could you now put ace, king, and 2 small cards, any 2 small cards you like in the opposite you? Give yourself jack and 3 small cards, any 3 small cards. On your right, put the 10 and 2 small cards. And on the left, put the queen and the remaining small cards. I'll repeat it in case you didn't get it first time. So ace, king and any 2 small cards opposite you. Jack and 3 small cards to yourself. The 10 and 2 small cards on your right, and a queen and a small card on your left. Watch, or look as you do it, please. Play the jack. The next person queens you, king, low. Then you play the ace, low, 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 and then the right-hand opponent makes his 10. Can you see now why it's so important that the left-hand opponent covered the queen on the jack to promote his partner's 10? Now, what is the correct way, going back to the finesse position when you had lots of backup cards, what is the correct way now to finesse the ace-king opposite ace, king and 2 small cards opposite jack and 3 small cards? What is the correct way? Leave the cards as they are. Well, you've got no backup cards. So you have to play the ace, the king, and pray that somebody had a doubleton queen. And you haven't wasted your jack because the queen was a doubleton. This lesson, when I do this lesson in real life, and I do it in the synagogue occasionally, it goes much better because the people pray and their prayers come off because the queen falls in 2 rounds. But normally, you just have to hope and pray. When you've got no backup cards, you have to hope one of the opponents has the queen doubled. Now, let's go back to the finessing and being in the right place. So put it opposite you, ace, queen, and any 2 small cards. And in your hand, jack, 10, and 2 small cards. And remind me which card you're going to start with. Have you got good backup cards now? You have. You now have to hope how the suit breaks. You have to hope it breaks 3, 2. Because you haven't got jack, 10, 9. You've only got the jack, 10. So you start with the jack, ready to let it run. And if the next person plays low, you let it go by. And you have to hope the queen is on the left. Which brings me to another guideline. Not written in stone, but it helps. When you've got ace, king, and ace, king, jack in one hand and small cards in the other, should you finesse or not to finesse? Got 8 cards between the 2 hands. Should you finesse? Well, the chances of a doubleton queen are pretty remote, so you should finesse. If you've got ace, king, jack, a 5-card suit in one hand and a 4-card suit in the other, how many cards do they now have? You can lay the cards out if you like. Put ace, king, jack, and 2 small cards in one hand and 4 small cards in the other. Put 2 cards in one hand and 2 cards in the other. How many do they have? They have 4. So you should play ace, king, and hope the queen falls in 2 rounds. Now the odds say that when you've got 9 cards between the 2 hands, you should play for the drop. Playing for the drop means you play ace, king, and hope the queen comes down in 2 rounds. When you've got 8 cards between the 2 hands, you should now take the finesse. How are you going to remember it? Well, the saying is 8 ever, 9 never. What does that mean? It means that if you've got 8 cards, you finesse every time. And if you've got 9 cards, you never finesse. 8 starts with E and ever starts with E. So that's how you remember it. 8 and ever. 9 starts with N and never starts with N. And that's how you remember it. The 2 N's never. With 9, you play for the drop. And 8 and ever, you take the finesse every time. Now, having given you that guideline, and it is only a guideline, you shouldn't be rigid. If one opponent has preempted and you've got 9 cards in your hand, the suit now is more likely to break 3-1 because we come to Culbertson's law of distribution. If your hand is funny or their hand is funny, all the distributions are going to be funny. If you are balanced, they're likely to be balanced. It's not rigid, but that's a percentage thing. It's called Culbertson's law of distribution. So if you think the suit's likely to break 3-1 because the bidding has said it's likely to break 3-1, then do a finesse even if you've got 9. Now, when you play out a hand, most hands are a tail of two halves. The first half is drawing trumps. And once you finish drawing trumps, you can forget about trumps. Only count one suit at a time. So, got 9 trumps between the two hands, play ace, king, the suit breaks badly, you weren't expecting it to break badly, draw the last trump. Stop worrying about trumps. Experts don't count 3 or 4 suits in one go. They count one suit at a time. Once you've drawn trumps, you should then have a second half. The second half is normally establishing a second suit, and then try and count that suit. Don't flit around and draw trumps and then half do establishing a suit and then doing a finesse. Don't do that. Do drawing trumps, worry about that. Establish a suit, worry about that. And most hands work like that. Most hands, you will have good trumps and you will have another suit to work on. And if you want to benefit from that other suit, you better draw trumps first. The same applies in no trumps. What do you do in no trumps? Again, it's probably a tale of two halves. You have to establish a suit. Make sure you don't shirk work. If you've got a suit with ace, king, queen, jack, 10 in it, you don't play that suit at all. You get the work done of establishing suits where you haven't got the ace and king, because the suits where you've got the ace, king, queen, jack, 10, you need those cards as your entry cards. Don't shirk work. You've got a suit with queen, jack, 10, 9, opposite 7, 6, 5, 4. Play the queen, force out their ace. Play the jack, force out their king. And now you've built 2 tricks. You've established 2 tricks. Any 4 can go ace, king, queen, jack, 10. Now for newcomers. Whatever suit they lead, the one thing that you mustn't do is play back that suit. Keep the controlling cards of the opponent's suits. Don't muck around. They lead the queen, and in the dummy you've got king and a small card, and in your own hand you've got ace and some small cards. Certainly win the first trick with either the ace or the king, but don't play the other controlling card in that suit. Whose tune are you playing? Your tune or their tune? Who are you trying to help? Your side or their side? You need the controlling card in the opponent's suit. Now let me give you a tip. I'm not going to talk till 8 o'clock because I've said quite a lot already. I'm going to be drawing to an end in a minute. But let me give you a tip about holding up. The opponents lead a suit and you've only got one controlling card in that suit. You shouldn't be in a hurry to take the ace of that suit, and you try and cut communications between the 2 defenders. However, if you've got 2 suits that are problematic and the opponent on your left leads the 2 of spades, and you've got a spade problem and a heart problem. I hope none of my viewers has a heart problem, but one of you, you've got a heart problem and a spade problem. You must take the first trick. The 2 of spades suggests they've led from a 4-card suit, and get on with the business of establishing your suits. What you can't do is hold up and not take your ace, and they switch to your other problem suit. I was playing with a so-called expert on OK Bridge yesterday, and they led a spade, the 2 of spades, and he had the ace of 3-card suit, and he had a heart problem. If I'd have been in with him in real life, he might have had a further heart problem. And he held up, and he was playing against good opponents, and they of course switched to hearts, and now he went 1 off. All he had to do was take the first trick and then deal with his suits. So when they got in, they would have taken 3 more spades, but that's all they would have taken. So because they switched, they got the suit they held up on 1 trick. They built 3 tricks in spades, and they had to take an ace because I needed to build a trick in my suit. I needed to establish my suit, which was diamonds, and I played the king of diamonds. They got in with the ace. They cashed 3 spades and a heart. But had the guy I was playing with taken the ace straight away, and it's a risk worth taking, he has to take it because he couldn't afford a switch in another suit, we'd have made the contract. Needless to say, I will not be playing with him again. I hope you've enjoyed the session, and I will post and send, if you are not on my mailing list but would like to know when I'm going to do this session again, please email me. And if you want me to explain any particular aspect of bridge, any particular films you want me to do, just tell me. If you go along to my website, haroldschogger.com, you will find a lot of the finesse positions there. If you want to try them out, you will need to put on your computer the Bridge View program, bridgevu.exe. That's on my website. You can download that for free. It's nothing harmful in that program. And then all the little lin files will open, and you can see me. Some of them I'm talking on, and some of them are just text. But next time I will prepare you some lin files and do it much more slowly. If I've gone through this too quickly today, I apologise. You can watch most of this again because I shall leave it up online, and hopefully you may benefit. Thank you all very kindly for listening to me.